I wasn't invited to my mom's birthday dinner. It's just for people who've been supportive lately, my sister said. The next day, I got a Zelle request. $10.50, your share of the private room plus cake. I just froze the joint credit card, logged them out of my Netflix, and flagged the restaurant bill as fraud. Next morning, I received 88 messages saying, "You're not acting like a real family." I found out I wasn't invited to my mom's birthday dinner when my phone buzzed with a Zelle request for $1,050. Private room plus cake, Rachel wrote. No greeting. No explanation. The same sister who I helped through a $1,000 vet bill last November. The same one I gave $9,000 to last year when she said she was done with office jobs forever and wanted to launch her own skincare line. That lasted 3 months. I stared at the request for a while, thinking it had to be a joke. Then I opened Instagram. The first story I saw was from my cousin Mia. She'd posted a boomerang of champagne flutes clinking in a dimly lit steakhouse. I tapped again, group photo. There was my mom at the center, wearing the silk scarf I gave her last Christmas, blowing out candles on a massive white cake. My dad sat beside her. Rachel was across the table next to her boyfriend Jordan. Even Uncle Terry was there, and he hasn't been sober at a family event since Obama was in office. Everyone was there. Except me. I didn't say anything for a few hours. I didn't want to text while angry. When I finally asked Rachel what was going on, she answered 3 words. It was private. Just for people who've been supportive lately. I read it twice. Supportive. That's what she was going with. I co-signed the credit card my parents used for daily expenses. I covered shortfalls, paid bills when my dad's pension got held up, and bailed Rachel out more times than I could count. I didn't just support them, I subsidized them. So I didn't argue. Instead, I opened the credit card app and froze the account. Locked the card, flagged the steakhouse charge as fraud. Then I changed the Netflix password. Same for Amazon, Hulu, and the family Spotify. They got booted one by one. The next morning, I had 88 notifications. Texts from my mom, my dad, Mia, a few uncles I hadn't heard from in years. Every message had the same undertone. You're not acting like family. That's when it hit me. Rachel had been working on this for a while. Subtle stuff. Convincing my parents I was distant, cold, unreliable. Making herself look like the loyal daughter, the caregiver. She visited more, called more, showed up more, but only after I started covering their financial holes. It wasn't affection. It was strategy. Rachel didn't want to share anything. Not even the illusion of family. She wanted the house. My parents' house. The one I helped renovate after Dad's accident, the one I paid property tax on for 2 years when money got tight. She was drawing a line in the sand. Fine. Let her draw it. But I wasn't going to stand there waiting for another slap in the face. If she wanted me out of the picture, I'd go. But I was taking back every cent she owed me first. I had proof. $9,000 in bank transfers, texts saying, "I'll pay you back," emails outlining what it was for. She never expected I'd keep it all. I stopped replying to the messages. The moment I stopped being their wallet, suddenly I was the villain. Good. Let them call me whatever they want. Because this time, I wasn't walking away quietly. 2 days after Rachel's little Zelle stunt, my dad called. I let it ring out. Then came the voicemail. He sounded tired, like he'd been dragged into something he didn't fully understand. "We need to talk. Rachel says you're freezing accounts and causing problems." Causing problems. Not getting excluded, not being used. Just problems. That was the language now. I didn't call back. I figured if they could host a birthday dinner and pretend I didn't exist, I could return the favor. Instead, I logged into my bank, pulled every transaction with Rachel's name on it, and printed the full list. I had transfers going back over a year. $9,000 exactly. Labeled and time-stamped, rent, just until next paycheck. Car loan, utilities, even one for urgent supplies, when she had that brilliant idea to start a skincare brand. That business didn't last a season. I filed a small claims suit that afternoon. I attached screenshots of her texts saying she'd pay me back. I knew she'd spin it as me being vindictive, but I didn't care anymore. She was playing a long game, smiling through it while quietly cutting me out. She just didn't expect me to fight back without yelling. That night, I finally heard from Mia. She'd kept quiet until then, But something must have shifted. She messaged me. "Hey. I didn't realize you weren't invited until we were already there. Rachel made it sound like you didn't want to come." I asked her what else Rachel said. That's when the picture really came together. Rachel had told the table I'd been pulling away, doing my own thing, too busy for family stuff. She said I wasn't interested in being involved anymore. And people just accepted it. No one called me to check. Then Mia dropped something I wasn't expecting. She said Rachel kept talking about the house. How it would make sense for her to stay in it when our parents got older. That she was always the one here anyway. Said it casually, like it was already a given. That's when it hit me fully. This wasn't just about one birthday dinner or even money. Rachel was trying to replace me. She'd been laying the groundwork for months. Little things, subtle digs, shifting how people saw me, cold, distant, not the kind of person who stays close to aging parents. Meanwhile, she made herself the cozy, dependable daughter. The one who'd inherit the house, the responsibility, and, conveniently, the equity. She didn't want me angry. She wanted me erased. So I drove down to see my parents in person. No heads up. Just showed up one afternoon while Rachel was at work. They looked surprised but not unwelcome. We sat down in the living room, and I laid everything out. I told them about the $9,000. Showed them the transfers. I showed them the Zelle request. The restaurant charge on the joint card. I told them I'd filed a lawsuit. At first, they defended her. My mom said maybe Rachel felt overwhelmed. That she'd been trying to help more lately. My dad said something about miscommunication. But I could see the gears turning. They didn't have answers for the receipts. They didn't know she'd charged their joint card for a dinner she deliberately excluded me from. Then I asked the hard question. Did you ever talk about leaving the house to her? My dad said no immediately. My mom hesitated. Then she admitted Rachel had brought it up a few times. She just mentioned it as a maybe. She said that she'd probably be the one to live here someday. That was enough. Rachel had started the conversation, slowly, probably months ago. Framing it like a natural choice. Creating a version of the future where she was the only one left standing. I told them I was done supporting anyone financially. No more credit card bailouts. No more quiet payments. If something came up, we'd talk about it like adults. But I wasn't going to keep playing the dependable ghost while Rachel played the favorite. They didn't say much after that. My mom looked like she wanted to, but she didn't. I didn't ask them to pick sides. I didn't want to make it that kind of fight. But I knew the truth had landed. And I wasn't done yet. 3 days after visiting my parents, Rachel finally reached out. Not with a call, not even a real message. Just a screenshot of the court notice, followed by one line. "You're really going through with this?" I didn't respond. The next day, I got a group text. She added my parents, Mia, Jordan, and 2 of our uncles. Her message was a masterpiece of fake concern. "Hey everyone. Just wanted to let you know was suing me over money I thought was a gift. It's sad to see family get so petty. I've always done everything I could to keep us close." Then she attached photos of herself visiting our mom in the hospital last year. A screenshot of a Venmo she sent once for $200 labeled "Mom's Meds." It was like she was building a defense in a group chat. I waited a few hours. Then I replied with a PDF of the bank transfers. I had every label, every timestamped. "I'll pay you back." Text. And I ended with just one sentence. "Family doesn't mean free." No one said anything after that. But the next morning, Mia called. She told me something new. Uncle Gary had called her the night before, ranting about how Rachel had borrowed $4,000 from him last fall and never paid it back. Told him it was for legal stuff. She never mentioned that to anyone. Then Aunt Lynn apparently said Rachel borrowed $1,200 from her in January, claiming it was to help Mom with bills. Mom never saw a cent of it. It was all starting to unravel. Rachel hadn't just been setting me up. She'd been draining everyone slowly and making herself look like the one carrying the weight. And the house? That wasn't just a hope. Mia found out Rachel had already contacted a real estate agent. Not to sell it. To ask how to transfer ownership early. If both parents agree. She was playing chess. But she'd been counting on everyone else playing checkers. I updated the court filing with a few extra receipts. Mentioned that I had witnesses if needed. I wasn't trying to destroy her. I just wanted her to understand she couldn't use people like this anymore. Especially not me. Then I made one more move. I sent my parents a new account to use for their bills, one I controlled. I told them they could ask me directly if they needed help, but I wouldn't be paying for anything unless we spoke about it first. No more middlewoman. No more Rachel quietly bleeding the account dry and pretending she was the one holding everything together. It took a few days, but eventually my dad called. He apologized. Said he hadn't known about the money. Said they never agreed to give Rachel the house or even talked about it seriously. Then he said something I didn't expect. "We'll make it right." He didn't say how. He didn't need to. But something had shifted. Rachel wanted to cut me out and keep the support. Now she was getting the opposite. The support was staying. She was the one being cut out. Rachel went quiet for a week. That in itself was unusual. Normally, when she felt cornered, she'd double down. Stir drama, play the victim, flood the family with messages. But this time, nothing. No group chats. No cryptic Facebook posts. Just silence. Then came the email. It was a long one. She sent it to our parents, me, Mia, and a few other relatives. 5 paragraphs of half-truths and thinly disguised blame. She claimed the money was never formally discussed as a loan, that she was shocked and hurt by the lawsuit, and that she only ever tried to hold the family together. She called me emotionally distant and said my reaction proved I never cared about the family dynamic. At the bottom of the email, she wrote something that made me laugh out loud. "Going forward, I'll be stepping back from any responsibilities involving mom and dad. I've done what I could. If others want to take over, that's fine." Translation: she knew she lost. 2 days later, I got a call from Uncle Gary. Not a voicemail, an actual call. He sounded livid. Rachel had ghosted him when he asked about the $4,000 she borrowed. She promised to return it by February. It was May. Then Aunt Lynn called. She said Rachel told her I was going to cut my parents off financially unless she took over everything. That was her story, painting herself as the reluctant hero. I told them both about the lawsuit, about the house, about the real estate inquiry. By the end of the week, 4 more relatives reached out. Turns out Rachel had been borrowing money from multiple people, always for a family emergency, or some vague health-related cost. She always used mom and dad as the excuse. The house thing? Confirmed. Mia found the real estate agent's name. Rachel had met with her twice, asked about early ownership transfers, and even floated the idea of buying out my share after our parents passed. She said I probably wouldn't care about keeping it anyway. She never imagined I'd find out. So I decided to bring it all together. I wrote one email. Short. To the same group she emailed before, plus a few more. It had 3 parts. A timeline of every payment I made on behalf of our parents over the last 2 years. Proof of the $9,000 loan. A list of relatives who confirmed they'd also lent Rachel money. No emotion. Just facts. Then I added one line at the end. I'm no longer participating in any conversation where lies are being used as currency. That broke something. Not in me, in the room. Mom called the next day. She was crying, not for her, but because she said she didn't see it happening. That she let Rachel divide us while I was the one quietly helping from the sidelines. Dad got on the phone too. Said he and Mom were updating their will. Said the house wouldn't be going to anyone until both of them were gone, and that everything would be split equally, down to the cent. The next morning, Rachel finally snapped. She texted me. Paragraphs of rage. Told me I was cold, calculating, vindictive. That she should have known I'd lawyer up the second things didn't go my way. She said I'd humiliated her in front of the whole family. That real family doesn't do this. I didn't reply. Because I didn't need to. She'd spent a year trying to make sure I didn't get what she thought I didn't deserve. Now she had exactly what she deserved. And I still had the truth, and the receipts. Rachel must have realized she was out of options when my lawyer responded to her last-minute settlement offer with a single sentence. We're proceeding as filed. She offered to pay back $1,500 and call it even. That was it. After months of twisting the truth, draining everyone, and trying to take the house, she thought she could throw pennies at the problem and walk away clean. We didn't even entertain it. A week before the court date, she tried one more trick. She showed up at our parents' house uninvited. My mom called me 10 minutes after she left. She said, "You're trying to bankrupt her." I asked what else she said. My mom hesitated, then admitted Rachel had brought up the house again, said maybe it was time to just decide before things got messy. That she didn't feel safe, not knowing where things stood. That she'd put in so much effort already. My dad stepped in this time. He told her the will had been updated and there was nothing more to discuss. Split down the middle. No early decisions. No special arrangements. Rachel left without saying goodbye. Then something unexpected happened. Uncle Gary filed his own small claim. Aunt Lynn was considering it too. Turns out my email wasn't just informational, it gave them courage. Rachel had been counting on everyone's politeness, everyone's guilt, everyone's fear of drama. But when the spell broke, it broke hard. She stopped replying to family texts. Didn't show up to Sunday dinner. And when Mia posted a picture of us at a coffee shop, Rachel blocked her. 3 days before court, I got another email. This one wasn't from Rachel, it was from her boyfriend Jordan. It was short. A few lines. "Hey, I don't want to be in the middle of all this. Just wanted to say I didn't know the full story. I hope things work out. No hard feelings." I didn't respond. But I screenshotted it anyway. Just in case. The court hearing was uneventful. Rachel showed up alone, avoided eye contact, didn't say much. My lawyer laid out everything in neat order: payments, text confirmations, dates, bank records. Rachel tried to argue it was a gift, but the judge didn't buy it. She was ordered to repay the full $9,000 over 12 months. No interest, but a formal judgment on the record. When it ended, she walked straight out. Didn't look back. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt done. The family finally saw what I'd been seeing for a long time. Not because I shouted the loudest, but because the truth was too consistent to ignore. And once Rachel couldn't manipulate the narrative, there was nothing left to hold her story together. Back at my parents' house, things were quiet. The tension was gone. My mom asked if we could set up the bill account again, but this time, with both of them involved, no backdoors, no middlemen. I agreed. Not out of obligation, but because now, I knew it wouldn't be taken for granted. Rachel didn't come around after that. She stayed away. She had to. The house was no longer hers to angle for. The support lines were cut. The masks were off. Everyone finally saw the difference between helping and being used. And Rachel? She was out of moves. Rachel left without a word. Not to me, not to our parents, not to anyone in the family. Mia said she found out through a tagged Instagram story from someone I didn't know. Rachel had moved to Arizona. New apartment, new job, new city. As if changing the scenery would change the story. She didn't even send a goodbye text. I didn't expect her to. The final court ruling made everything real. She was ordered to repay the $9,000 in full, broken into monthly payments over a year. No excuses, no delays, no loopholes. For the first time, she was being held accountable for something she couldn't spin or deflect. And she hated that. Accountability wasn't a language she ever learned to speak. Our parents stopped asking about her after a while. My mom mentioned once that Rachel texted to say she was focusing on her mental health and needed space from toxic dynamics. I didn't ask what she meant. I already knew. To Rachel, accountability looked like cruelty. Boundaries looked like betrayal. But to me, it looked like peace. With her gone, everything shifted. Our parents started talking to me more, not just when they needed help, but about real things. About the past. About the future. My dad apologized again, this time unprompted, for not seeing through the way Rachel was operating. He said he'd always assumed because she was around more, she was more invested. He didn't realize showing up physically didn't mean showing up truthfully. They asked me to help restructure some of their finances. We put safeguards in place so what happened with the joint credit card couldn't happen again. They also updated the will officially, equal split, no early transfers, no promises made behind closed doors. They even included a clause: any inheritance would require direct communication and shared decisions. No more family business done through whispers. Rachel was left out of all future plans unless she made contact. Sincere contact. Not manipulation disguised as reconciliation. That door wasn't locked, but it wasn't open either. She'd have to knock now. Meanwhile, something else started happening. Uncle Gary got his money back through court. Rachel didn't even bother showing up. The ruling came fast. Aunt Lynn didn't file, but she told me on the phone that she was done. Said she blocked Rachel's number and had zero intention of unblocking it. Turns out, she'd lent Rachel the $1,200 because Rachel claimed I was threatening to cut our parents off if she didn't step in. That lie hit her hard. It was personal. Mia and I got closer. She told me she regretted not speaking up sooner. That she saw what was happening, but didn't want to get involved. She thought things would just balance themselves out. But they didn't. Not until someone drew a line. I did. And yeah, it got ugly. But it finally got honest. Jordan, Rachel's ex, sent me one last message a few weeks after the ruling. I didn't know she owed that many people. I didn't even know about the house stuff. You were right to walk away. It was strange, hearing it from him. But I appreciated it. He was the only one in her life who even attempted to acknowledge what happened. Rachel never replied to the email I sent after the court decision. I told her not to contact me again. That I didn't hate her, but I wasn't going to play pretend either. I told her she'd pay what she owed, and that would be the end of our story. I closed that chapter. And I meant it. The last payment came in this month. 10 months after she left. She was quiet the entire time. No drama, no emails, just the required deposit, like a monthly reminder of the person she tried to be and failed. I don't think about her much anymore. Not in anger. Just with clarity. She tried to make me look like the problem so she could keep her access to the house, to our parents, to my help, to control. And she almost did. But the thing about people like Rachel is they always overplay the hand. They think kindness is weakness and silence is approval. But they forget, the quiet ones take notes. And eventually, they act. Rachel got what she wanted in the end. She's alone. And for once, that's not my responsibility to fix. It had been a little over a year since Rachel disappeared into Arizona silence. Payments had stopped the month before. The debt was officially cleared. She hadn't contacted anyone in the family, not even our mom on her birthday, not even with one of those fake cheerful texts she used to send to keep a foot in the door. I figured that was it. Done and over. Then last week, a letter arrived. Handwritten. No return address. It was addressed to me. At first, I thought it might be one of those dramatic final goodbye things. Maybe a passive-aggressive apology, maybe a last jab. But when I opened it, I had to read it twice. She wasn't writing to apologize. She was writing to ask for help. She said her car had been broken into, her phone stolen, and she was in a rough situation. Claimed she was trying to get back on her feet, looking for a new place after losing her last job. She didn't ask for money directly, but the tone was clear, she was fishing. She mentioned how isolating it had been, how things got out of control, and how she wished the family could go back to how it was. No return address, no contact info, just a P.O. box scribbled in the corner. And then at the bottom, this one line. If you ever want to talk, I'm still your sister. That part stuck with me. Not because I believed her, but because it showed me she still didn't get it. She thought being my sister was enough. That after everything, the lies, the manipulation, the money, the house, she could just declare blood over truth and expect the door to swing open again. I didn't respond. I took a picture of the letter and sent it to my parents. My dad didn't say much. My mom just replied. She still thinks this is about feelings. It's about trust. They didn't write her back either. I don't know where she is now. I don't know if she'll keep writing. But I do know this. For the first time in a long time, Rachel is on the outside looking in. And the only way back is through a door she burned herself.